I have lots of friends who are kind of into like the tabletop role-playing games or like Warhammer and stuff like that. And so I knew that people were 3D printing their own kind of like little miniatures and stuff, but then people were also printing like lens caps to replace the lens cap they lost on their camera, or printing tools because like I need one really specific tool, but I don't need to buy this. I can actually 3D print it. Hi, my name is Kath Brunke. I am the director at Spartanburg County Public Library's makerspace called the Spark Space. A thing that I was just researching whenever you had asked me these questions, there is a company called Virus Art that is a collaboration between several different companies, but they are 3D printing pictures for people who might have a sight disability in order to be able to touch art, and for making replications of art, I guess from the masters, so like Van Gogh and Rembrandt and stuff, where you can actually feel the layers of paint that are worked up to bring those creations to life. Yes, and then they are so precise in like recreating the brush strokes that they then take them to curators to have them like measure them against the originals so that they can make sure what they are reproducing is the exact same thing as what's on the wall. And that way they are able to create basically a replica that they can then send off to other museums or to like touch museums where like little kids can touch a painting kind of. And it's been really like insane to me that there's that level of craftsmanship so that this painting is more accessible, and for museums that might not have a budget to rent that artwork are now able to like have that painting hung up in its entirety, completely scanned and on their wall, and then they're able to say, this is 3D printed and this is a recreation, and they're able to like bring that fully to another museum, which I think is kind of incredible. Absolutely. I also found another artist named Naveen Kumar who is using 3D prints in his indigenous storytelling as part of a box called, I think, a Kuvar box. And it is used in Indian, from the country India, storytelling, in that they are able to like 3D print sculptures of different gods and goddesses to put inside these boxes in a way that he said before, like I could only have pictures of it. I never had like actual renderings of these sculptures that are so important to my storytelling. And so that was really awesome. And then an artist who does acrylic, and then he 3D prints 3D pieces of his artwork and then paints over top of it to make really realistic bird paintings. So it looks like the bird is like flying off the canvas.
That is amazing.
Almost.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that's been like a really cool intersection of like really traditional art with outsourcing, like you said, to artists who are able to create these 3D sculptures.
Amazing. Kat, anything that you want to share with anyone, especially not only for the upcoming workshop that you're doing, but even folks that may see this after the workshop?
Right. So we're always creating new and different things at the library, and I think this could be a really great place to start with the 3D printing, just to learn the basics. But then if you ever wanted to come and do additional prints, 3D printers are available at the library, and we're available to kind of walk you through what the setup of that looks like, and then even come and look at our collection of 3D objects, maybe to just get some kind of inspiration about all of the things you can kind of do that I don't have time to cover in this class.
So a person doesn't have to wait for a group of one-on-one. The person can say, hey, I'm interested in finding out more.
Yeah, so they can absolutely come. We are accepting walk-ins at any time. We are open from 10 to 8 Monday through Thursday, and then we follow the same weekend hours as the rest of the library. So people are definitely able to come in and just drop by and say, hey, I'm interested about learning more. I kind of got an overview from Kath, but I would like to see what else is available.
That's amazing. All right, well, thank you so much, Kath.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me. So I would say this class is for anyone who's introduced to 3D printing, or maybe has heard about 3D printing and isn't quite sure what it is or how it works. Anyone who's looking to maybe experiment with 3D printing, has maybe own 3D printed objects, but has never set them up themselves or kind of seen what goes into 3D printing.
Is there a particular age group, age range that this is targeted for?
Not necessarily, but I would probably say it's for people who, as young as like 12, that's how young I've taught people about 3D printing, but all the way up to, I mean, kind of limitless of anybody who has interested in 3D printing, just because I know it's such a new technology, and people who are like, oh, well, back in my day, I didn't even know that would be possible, or I didn't even know you could do that kind of thing. So really anyone who's interested in the course. So I went to my undergraduate for graphic design and worked in several different kinds of companies, like a t-shirt company, promo materials, website design, big traveling exhibits for industrial exhibits, and then I went back to school to become a librarian, and when I did, they were just starting the SparkSpace as the library, and so I was very interested in seeing like how that would kind of connect with what I wanted to do, which was definitely once I saw the SparkSpace, I was like, I want to be doing that. And so in like kind of learning about that, one of the big ticket items we have is those 3D printers. And I've always kind of been obsessed with emerging technology and things that make things easier.
Okay.
Especially.
So they already had 3D printers there.
Right. So they
you
had.
kind of discovered
Yeah.
them.
And so I have lots of friends who are kind of into like the tabletop role-playing games or like Warhammer and stuff like that. And so I knew that people were 3D printing their own kind of like little miniatures and stuff, but then people were also printing like lens caps to replace the lens cap they lost on their camera, or printing tools because like I need one really specific tool, but I don't need to buy this. I can actually 3D print it now.
So you're seeing the entertainment side of it
Right.
as well as the functional side.
Right. And then my grandfather worked for NASA, and so I remember whenever the thing that saved a mission was that they had a 3D printer on board to print a specific type of screwdriver they needed to fix something. And so like even just knowing like that was possible to like have this very specific equipment that people were printing things in space is kind of like crazy that now it's available for public use.
Is it kind of the predecessor to the replicator from Star Trek?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it feels like. So it's been kind of crazy to now that that was very specific industrial printer, and now we can print all kinds of interesting, fun things, and we just do it in the library. Yeah, so I'm going to do an introduction to 3D printers. There are multiple different kinds of 3D printers, so we'll be talking about different kinds of 3D printing, and then about the basics of 3D printing, like how to set up the print, how to find models that are accurate and complete and not full of holes maybe. And then we are going to work on kind of showing you how to set up a 3D printer and what kind of goes into 3D printing, and then actually printing a 3D model.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.